So good morning all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the AICTE sponsored online STTP on cybersecurity and resilience of smart grid. Uh, it's happy to inform you that so far we have completed 2 series of lectures, one on the research perspective and the other one from the international perspective. We have identified 30 renowned speakers to share their experiences and knowledge on research and international perspective on cybersecurity and resilience of smart grid. So today we are beginning with the third series of session wherein we are concentrating on the industry perspective. So we have renowned speakers from various industries to talk on cybersecurity and resilience of smart grid in the industry perspective. So welcome you all to the session. I would also welcome our speaker today, Mr. Renju Abraham, application engineer from SEL, to talk on cybersecurity solution to address substation OT security challenges. I would like to welcome our advisor, Dr. G. Sambandhan, and all the participants once again to this good start. So welcome you all. I would request the participants to maintain the decorum. Please don't unmute yourself in the mid of the lecture. You can post your questions and queries then and there in the chat box. We'll help you at the end of the session. We'll have a question and answer sessions and query discussion sessions. So in that you can unmute yourself and you can talk, and we'll be helping you to get the answers for the queries that is posted in the chat box. So with this brief note, I would request our advisor to invite and introduce our speaker. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy that we are in the third phase of our training program sponsored by AICTE. This is, as Dana has said, this is the third series. The first two, one was organized in end of July with professors from IIT, NIT, and NPTI and all that. The second one was from speakers from international locations of grade, having fellow grade in IEEE and other universities and industries, all right from Australia to Canada, including USA, UK, and Vienna, and all that. That was a good series. As she said, we have identified 30 speakers for delivering this sort of a lecture. And today we are starting the third series of for industry application. And we have identified again in local industry in India, and we have invited about 11 speakers. And today we are starting with the first one, Mr. Renju Abraham. He is the application engineer in SEL. I think many of our academic people may not know about that SEL. SEL is a short name of Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories. This is the company in United States of America, located in Washington State in Pullman. And they design, manufacture, and supply products and services ranging from generator protection, transmission protection, distribution, automation, and control. This company was founded in 1982 by Professor Edmund Schweitzer. They have 5,000 employees in their company, 2,300 in the United States and 2,700 located in 45 countries. So this was company, it was a best Fortune 100 best companies in 2012. It was identified like that. And Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories, CEL, is the #1 relay manufacturer as per the Newton Evans worldwide study of protective relay system manufacturers and all that. Mr. Abraham, Renju Abraham, he is a graduate from Anna University in EC, Electronic Communication Engineering. He joined Schweitzer in 2013 as project engineer in automation, and now he's application engineer automation involved in design, implementation of SCADA systems, communication networks, and other power system automation application. With this small introduction, I hand over the platform to Mr. Abraham. Mr. Abraham, take over, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Good morning, all. So in today's morning session, my topic is cybersecurity solution to address substation OT security challenges. So I'll start with the security definition. So what's security? So some characteristic of a strong security program includes maintaining policy, developing partnership, understanding the risk involved in the cybersecurity if it's not implemented, choosing the correct technology, and continuing to improve. So security program should have thorough documentation such as policy, procedure, guidelines, and other documents that is accessible to all parties affected directly or indirectly by it. So these security documents should be revisited and revised at regular interval to ensure that the security programs develops as the business goal. Security is an ongoing process. As such, partnerships can be very beneficial to the security of organization. Developing and maintaining partnership with the peer organizations, or supplier, or vendors, and or end users, which can allow a better information sharing and assistance with recovery if any incident like any cybersecurity attack occurs. So information sharing also that occurs through partnership can lead to a better understanding of a risk, threats, vulnerability, defense technique, and best practices. So greater understanding of the problem space leads to a greater ability to take effective action. Next is the correct technology can help with security, while the wrong technology can hinder it. So choosing a technology that enhances the ability to meet security goal and that has been thoroughly tested is important. So it's beneficial for technologies to positively impact user ability to do their jobs, or at least cause minimal negative impact. So organization have the responsibility for cybersecurity. So the key to successfully developing a good security posture is to align the security goals with the organization business goal. So end users are the entire reason for the business to exist. So without them, the business would fail. So just as end user are the primary concern in terms of company business objective, they should also be the primary concern in terms of company security objective. Second are the investors. So investors are the second responsibility of the company because they have provided the resources to the company. They have spent their money to the company so that it has more to work with and can better serve the end users. Protecting investors' asset is nearly as important as caring for the end users also. So if these assets are lost, the ability to serve end user will be compromised. Third is the government compliance is an important issue. It it should not be the primary goal of any security program. A well-built security program should lead directly to governmental compliance. Building up the security that is required to keep end users and investor protected requires the same steps and audit trials that are needed for governmental compliance. However, working towards governmental compliance does not necessarily leads to a secure posture that meets end user or investor needs. So these are the three organization, we can say, who has the responsibility, the major responsibility in terms of safeguarding the cybersecurity features in substation. So what are the most general threats that can be harmful to the security in a critical infrastructure like the substation or a power plant? First is we have been seeing for last few decades the engineering industry, the power industry, the process industry, everywhere has seen an unparalleled growth in communications link added to the digital relays. So many have replaced the electromagnetic relays to digital relay, numerical relays, and and which are directly connected to the LAN network, to the control room, or and then from control room to the GCS for data sharing. So data and other information from relay can be easily attained at a single location, like I mentioned, in the control room over the LAN network, which is quite convenient for us. But at the same time, if at the same time, if this network is unsecure, it can be at a higher risk and it can be easily compromised. So any small mistake can lead to any one threat to succeed in causing a negative effect on the system or the assets. Assume that the control system or the IED's intelligent electronic devices is on internet and lacks the technology, the cybersecurity technology, or the system awareness, and that the organization lacks verified security policy, procedure, or training to the employees. And if there's any unpatched Microsoft Windows computer as a part of the control system, so these all things are exploitable, which is exploitable by any serious threat attempts. This is why the ICS, the industrial control system, should never be placed on the internet directly without any safeguard, without any the firewall or a router. It should not be placed directly to the internet. The sources of malware in critical infrastructure are becoming physically smaller, and sometimes it becomes difficult to spot. A thumb drive or a pen drive used by insider or a employee or relay technician can easily be a source for a common USB spread malware agent. While critical substation may not be connected directly to the internet, 3G modem or USB drive may often provide a readily available internet, a source for a technician laptop from which malware can gain a foothold while they are on site, and which can affect the security of the power for grid system. So let's see few cyber attacks which had happened in the past, in this last decade. So one was the Ukrainian power grid cyber attack, which happened on December 23rd, 2015, and we must be aware of it. So the attackers, they opened the breaker of at least 30 to 40, 50 distribution substation in Ukraine, and effectively shut off. They were able to shut off the power to nearly 250,000 customers, and the blackout was for around 6 hours. So to reach the HMI, they were directly controlling the HMI via remote. So to reach the HMI that controlled the breaker, the threat actors used a phishing email to gain access to the corporate network. Just a second, I'll open my laser. Yeah. So to gain the access to the corporate network, and then they hopped over to the substation network across an unsecure corporate OT network connection. Although power was restored in about 6 hours, but some equipment were permanently damaged and needed to be replaced. The process that took over a year in some instance. So in this case the system was directly connected to the internet. Substation was actually connected to the corporate network, which was connected to the internet, and the attackers were able to access the SCADA network. In 2017, the hackers gained access to the transmission substation in Ukraine again, and they opened breaker for the transmission line circuit, which again caused an outage. A similar incident happened in Indian nuclear power plant in September 2019. In that, the nuclear power plant's administrative network was breached in the attack, but did not cause any critical damage. So an investigation revealed that a user had connected a malware affected personal computer to the plant's administrative network. However, the power plant control network are standalone and they are not connected to the outside cyber network or internet. So nothing major happened during that attack in the Indian nuclear power plant. Next, the Stuxnet attack, which happened in Iran nuclear power facility. So here the attacker. So this the network at the nuclear power plant is isolated, normally isolated from the outside world. That is, it is not directly connected to any internet. So, but here in this case, the attackers were able to distribute the pen drive, the thumb drive, in a conference which was held somewhere in Iran. So the thumb drive went to the internal employee of the company, and he inserted that infected pen drive to a PLC programmed PC, and and that PLC was Step 7 software from Siemens on a Windows-based OS. So that what that thumb drive did was it changed the functional block of the PLC program to a Stuxnet functional block, which changed the feedback of a normal operation, and it which was connected directly to the VFD, and the output of the VFD caused the damage of centrifugal around 1,000 to 2,000 centrifuges were destroyed in that attack. So the fundamentals of cybersecurity are the starting for policy, plan, procedure, and training has been going on from the World War II time. Since the World War II, it's in short, it's known as a PPPT, and it's still being followed. And the in term assessment, and then the fundamentals of cybersecurity were further enhanced, and assessment of the policy procedure were added, implementation, whether that policies or plans are being implemented as per the guidelines, and the management of the devices, the physical devices which are connected in the power grid, in the grid or the substation, needs to be assessed, needs to be checked every time. So determines this fundamental determines specific risks and consequences. Generate and follow a good cybersecurity policy. Develop and use good cybersecurity procedures. Educate employees, that is train employees and contractor, vendor, supplier, every people who are directly or indirectly connected to the organization security should be trained and should be trained on the policies and the procedure. A cybersecurity program is also successful when the entire organization adopts a culture of security. So the IT and the OT networks are two different things which have a two different requirement. Normally the bandwidth for the IT is normally usually 1 Gbps or more than that, whereas the OT is less. The bandwidth required is less. A dedicated bandwidth of like less than 10 Mbps is also sufficient in case of a OT environment. So IT, the healing time or resilience time is of around 1 second or more, depends upon the number of devices which are connected in the ring. Whereas in the OT network, 1 second is can be can cause the damage to the devices, or so the healing time has to be less than should be like 0.005 second, which I'll show you in my upcoming slides. The technology which is being used for healing the network. Same, the determinism and the dependability is more in the OT network. So the security approach in IT network confidentiality is the top item which has to be considered like confidentiality, whereas in OT availability is the major concern in the OT network. Latency should be in IT network. The latency, 1 second latency could be fine enough. Could be enough for the network. Whereas in OT, the latency should be less than 1 second or 0.005 second. So OT network, the environment, since most of the IT networks are kept in air-conditioned rooms, so the operating temperature is usually 0 to 40 degrees Celsius, whereas the OT networks are kept in the open environment under the sun or the harsh environment. So the equipment should have the operating temperature of from ranging from -40 to +85 degrees Celsius. And maintainability, the OT network has to be the devices has to be available for 30 years. The lifetime of the device should be more than should be for great many years, like 30 years, and for IT usually it's 3 to 5 years. So the three important security objectives are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality is preserving unauthorized restriction on information access and disclosure, including means for protecting personal privacy and proprietary information. So loss of confidentiality is the unauthorized disclosure of information, as integrity is guarding against improper information modification or a destruction, and it includes ensuring information non repudiation and authenticity. So loss of integrity is the unauthorized modification or destruction of information, whereas the availability is ensuring that timely and reliable access to and use of information. The loss of availability is the disruption of access to or use of information or any information system. So these three are the important objective of security. The next slide I'll be explaining about it more. So these three make an triad which is known as a CIA triad or AIC triad. So a CIA triad is a model which is designed to guide policies for information security within an organization. The three generally accepted objective information security are referred to as this CIA triad, which I mentioned before, which are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So let me tell the confidentiality is like protecting the data against against exposure to the threat actors or the cybersecurity the attackers. Integrity is protecting data against any alteration or a modification. Availability is assuring the data access whenever it is needed. So in IT, the information security professional prioritizes confidentiality ahead of the two other objectives, that is integrity and availability. As a result, the information security architecture are designed to protect sensitive data such as personal identification information, credit card numbers, or trade secrets or intellectual properties. However, in ICS security, that's industrial control system security, the focus is not on information, but on the industrial process, the information technology controls. However, the availability and integrity are more important than confidentiality. So controlling engineers look to maximize availability, uh, ensuring systems stay put and running, and avoid any interruption or unexpected downtime. So data integrity is also extremely important in control system. In the operator screen in the control room does not accurately represent what is actually going on at the down level or at the level where the physical devices are connected. So there could be a significant impact to the operation or even to the safety of the personal or equipment. Confidentiality usually has a low priority in ICS, while there may be some scenarios where intellectual property resides on the plant floor or on an engineering laptop. And most operational information or tags such as temperature, fill level, vibration, speed, any remain encrypted because their value is short-lived. So system can be categorized. The system can be categorized as per high, moderate, low. Like high can be catastrophic. If it's moderate, it will have serious adverse effect. If it's low, the alarm is low, it will have limited adverse effect. So based on this, we can create a table like which can show which can categorize the impact level of the impact of the various level, like the parameter, which is the physical fencing or boundary. Uh, the, the confidentiality is high. If anyone try to breach it, the confidentiality is at a higher risk. And the like the SCADA access level, automation, protection, physical. So you can even need like the physical is the next slide. I'll be talking about the physical level. And so the physical level is the breaker, the physical devices. So if the availability is not if the devices are not available, so it can be at a high impact. It can be of high impact. So next is the Purdue diagram. So a Purdue diagram is these represents a simplified network topology or architecture that allows engineer to communicate their design to IT department or the management. Also, it's also known as a defense in-depth mechanism, which here in SCL we use defense in-depth technology. So it's an approach to cybersecurity in which a series of defensive mechanisms are layered in order to protect valuable data and information. So if one mechanism fails or if one layer fails, another steps up immediately to prevent an attack. That is, another layer of protection will be there in case the uh, top in case the layer above to it gets compromised. So if so this multi-layered approach with intentional redundancy increases the security of the system as a whole and addresses many different uh, attack vectors. So here the level 0 physical assets are the physical assets are called as a level 0, where the breakers, transformer, generator, etc. are kept, whereas the level 1 is the level where protection devices, numerical relays, meters, and other the physical devices are kept. Level 2 is the data integration of the devices. The data from the level 1 gets collected, like the server, switches, uh, PC, and the clocks all are kept in the level 2. Level 3 is the access level, which connects the level 2 and the level 4, which the access level, like the firewalls can be the level 3, and level 4 uh, can be selected as a SCADA level, where the computers, HMI, and other system comes. So level 5 is the outer level of the network, which is the firewall to IT network for corporate connection. And the level 6, which is the most important level in the defense in-depth technology. It's people. So which is linked to all this level 6 is linked to all the other levels, and it's the first line of the defense. So any compromise, anything compromises to this level can compromise the other level easily. The functionality and criticality of the devices determines which level it belongs to. So the more critical the system, the lower it resides in the architecture. Power systems are at immediate risk of failure if level 0 and 1 are compromised. uh, most power system can operate for weeks without level 2 or 3, and most can operate indefinitely without uh, 4 or 5, 4 or 6. But also cybersecurity L0 and 1 and 2 should be designed by the OT engineers or uh, the OT department, and the level 3 and 5 should be designed by the IT department or the IT engineers. So this was the one I was talking before, the level 0, which has the protective relay, remote ID, level 1. So these level can also be segregated to into like a substation under substation level 3, level 0, 1, 2 and 3 can be renamed in the architecture. Central control room, where the HMI and the HMIPC and other things can be named as central control room, and everything else, the corporate network, can be named as some can be given other name in the architecture. So the OT defense in depth security, this is OT defense in depth security model, which is based on the Purdue diagram, which I showed in the previous slide. So here we can segregate this machine to machine level from level 0 to 3, human to machine as 4 to 5, and IT layer, which is at the most risk. It can be connected to, which can be also connected to internet. So it can be named as a separate layer, can be named as a IT. So the slide here shows multi-layered approach to cybersecurity solution, which we discussed, which we saw in the previous slide. And so the requirement of, and this CIA, the CIA triad, which we had seen in the previous slide. So based on the levels, the CIA, the requirement of the confidentiality and integrity of information or data increases as we go up the level of the network, whereas the requirement of availability and safety of physical asset and people increases as we go down the level in the network. So this is the CIA triad priority in the OT network. So this is a cybersecurity framework, NIST cybersecurity framework, which SCL here in SCL we follow. So NIST is the National Institute of Standard and Technologies, technology under the United States Commerce government. So the cybersecurity framework is a set of a guideline for private sector companies to follow to be better prepared in identifying, detecting, and responding to any cyber attack in case of any cyber attack happens. So these cybersecurity framework calls for identifying, protect the system, detect, then respond to the attack, and then recover to the attack. So this is a continuous process, and it also has a checklist where we all the steps in the policy procedure has to be followed. So the identify function assist in developing an organizational understanding to managing cybersecurity risks to system, people, assets, data, and capability. Understanding the business context, the resource that support critical function, and the related cybersecurity risk enables an organization to focus and prioritize its effort consistent with its risk management strategy and business need. First is the to identify using system baseline like assessment of the policy procedure, creating a roadmap for cybersecurity policy review and recommendation. These are the identifying steps for identifying in for the cybersecurity. That's the protect function, which the protect function outlines appropriate safeguard to ensure delivery of critical infrastructure services. The protect function supports the ability to limit or contain the impact of a potential cybersecurity event. Can be the protect function, the centralized access control, the secure remote access solution, physical security of the substation, the fencing, and the network solution, hardening the security hardening guides, whitelisting of the software, blacklisting of the software, regular system backups, taking regular system backups. These are few uh, steps we can take to under the protect function. Detect function defines the appropriate activity to identify the occurrence of any cybersecurity event. The detect function enables time discovery of cybersecurity events, like the IDS intrusion detection system, the SIEM system, information security information and event management system. It's a tool. It's a set of tool and services offering a holistic view of an organization's information security. Asset management system, update management, firmware update management system, monitoring of the physical devices health, and regular training to the employees operators can help in detecting any attack. The respond function includes appropriate activities to take action regarding detected cybersecurity incident. The respond function supports the ability to contain the impact of a potential cybersecurity impact incident. So the alarm and the alarms, any alarm or the alerts can help in responding to the any attack. As the recover function identifies appropriate activity to maintain plans for resilience and to store any capability or services that were impacted due to cybersecurity incident. The recover function supports timely recovery of normal operation to reduce the impact from the cybersecurity uh, incident. So NIST has a risk management framework, which is NIST 800-37, which has been divided into steps like categorize, then select, implement, assess, authorize, monitor, and before categorize there should be a planning step. So okay, so I'll tell in brief about this. So planning is like it prepares you to enter the before entering the rest of the step. Planning has to be done. So in order to begin the planning, you conduct a conduct a business case that implements security into the development of the system. The system also gathers information, system name, team members, and the roles within the risk management framework, system description, information system types. So categorize is like the organization needs to ensure the systems are categorized based on mission and the business objective. The result of security categorization process reflects the organization risk management strategy. Select, the organization uses its risk assessment to inform guide inform or guide the selection of security control of the project. This will help to identify common control and baseline security control. The implement is to implement what we have selected in the previous step, and then assess what we have implemented regularly in order to have a safe cybersecurity feature. Authorize is it prepared to address any weakness found during the assessment. So the authorization decision is conveyed to the appropriate organization, such as the owner of common control needed by the security, in case any in case during the previous step assessment any fault has been found in it. The monitor is the organization effectively analyzes the security impact of identified changes to the information system and its environment. Ongoing assessment of the security controls are being conducted in accordance to with the organization monitoring strategy. So monitoring can be done monthly or yearly based on the requirement. So then next is the for having a secure cybersecurity, a cyber secure environment, protective cybersecurity environment. Responsible owner should be assigned for at each level. A responsible owner has to be there, like the level 0 or the 1. So in case anything happens in that level, so that the responsible owner will be there for immediate action. So nothing should be taken for granted. Even small things should not be taken for granted. So everything should be tested regularly. The system, the PCs, the numerical relays, everything should be regularly checked for any unusual event. So the network design, the network design should be as simple as possible, because a larger complex network could be could create a difficulty in detecting the attack in case an attack happens. So control engineer and protection engineer should be cross-trained. Like protection engineer should know the communication part, network part, and the control engineer should also know the basics of the protection part. So apart from drawing a system network architecture, we should so to identify a cybersecurity vulnerability, it's essential to identify and classify all data moving around the network. So a proper documentation of a protection and a control system requires 3 essential type of architecture, which is a Bourdieu diagram, which I shown in the previous slide. In the physical architecture, here this shows the 100% of the equipment and the physical port connections, switches, relay, NICs, media converter, computer. So everything in this document should be physical and not virtual. So this physical architecture should also be created. Then the data flow diagram, DFD, should also be created as a part of architecture. So no physical cabling or media shown in the data flow diagram. Every single data communication is identified by direction protocols and a summary of data content. Software or firmware components on the producers and consumers are identified. DFD is a data flow diagram is the most essential document for programming, debugging, maintenance of a large PNC system. So as I mentioned, large network, larger network or simpler target for denial of service attack, much harder to debug, high network outage time, less reliability. So this convergence time of automatic network reconfiguration, such as the RSTP, grow as the network gets larger. Chipsets used in the IT Ethernet switches, which creates a message storm when faced with a high volume of incoming data. So if a IT Ethernet switch detects message from unknown IP protocols. It sends the message to all the ports. So this means that the during the time the RSTP recovers, the IT switch will itself cause a storm of data. So this causes data loss on PN protection and control network that uses the commercial grade IT layer 3 Ethernet switches, which this in turn can create a power system blackout. So this problem does not exist in a software defined network switch or SDN technology, which is designed for the OT environment. So whitelisting a relay or controller should have a whitelisting memory that is it should allow only the authorized application or a software to run in inside the controller or the relays. Another effective method is using a serial diode data. It's the hardware based devices with two nodes of circuit, like one send only and one receive only, that allows the flow of data in one direction from source to destination. So this method uses a single directional serial data channel between devices at different level in the Purdue diagram. So there are companies which manufacture serial data diodes, and the transmitter gateway is wired to the receiver gateway with only a transmitted hardware line. Without a receiving line, there will be no exchange of data back to the PNC system. So the attacker won't be able to send the data back to the physical layer. So we should also investigate the supply chain management of the organization, from where our devices are coming, like starting from the manufacturer who's manufacturing the chipset, to the suppliers and the vendors in between, to the transporter. It should be checked. It should be evaluated regularly. The integrity of the product should be checked at each level. The product part should be tracked. It should be tracked like it's being coming to it's not being going to some other destination, which could compromise the device part. And the warranty has to be warranty of for all the parts inside a single device should be there. Apart from the cybersecurity devices, internal devices, we should also follow a physical parameter, a physical security, like the parameter, the physical fencing and all, and accelerometer in the devices. There are devices which are attached, which has inbuilt accelerometer, door contact sensor, light sensor. There are devices which can detect these things and can alert the uh, operator or the engineer, and alarm can be raised if any such thing happens. Any door of the panel, if anyone is trying to open it, if there's any shake in the panel. So these physical security features should also be considered as a part of a cybersecurity system. So the IPs, all the relays, the Ethernet, all the IP controllers, the devices which are configured in the network should be scanned regularly for any vulnerability. So we should also this should also be a risk assessment. Priority list of the risk should be there. So a risk assessment team must keep in mind that priorities are different at each level. For example, for level 0, level 1 and 2, you must be highest priority to the highest priority to be given to the network in the risk management, the risk assessment, to the network availability, followed by data integrity, and then the confidentiality. Whereas for level 3 and up, you must give high priority to data confidentiality, followed by integrity, and then the data availability. So risk assessment should also be is also a part of a cybersecurity feature. So all settings change, any setting change, any setting which is being sent to a relay or a controller or any other devices should be monitored. So the relays usually come with an inbuilt node which detects any change in the settings, or anyone has logged out or changed any setting, or anyone has sent the setting, read the setting. So the that node, the logical node or the address can be assigned to the relays to monitor it regularly over a syslog protocol, which is a system log protocol. So all the data can be connected to a centralized syslog server, and then the operator can monitor any system change in the network. So the RSTP network, which we all must be very familiar with this protocol. So we should eliminate this network in OT network. In OT environment, RSTP should be eliminated. Like it could flood the network in case the one side of the ring breaks. So here we can't create any third path. So the ring network has to, it's like one network fails, the other side other path will be there, but if the second path fails, there won't be any network connection. So all switches build new MAC lookup tables every time the one side of the network fails, which could cause delay in recovery of the ring. Start routing the packets as per the low cost path, the nearest path, the shortest distance or the shortest path between the destination and the source. Whereas if the SDN technology, the software defined networking technology, here we can create this. Here in this slide, three paths has been shown: primary path, backup path, and secondary path. We can create more paths depending upon the application or the requirement. So in case the so in SDN switches, our usual traditional Ethernet switches contains the control plane and the data plane inside one single switch, physically inside the switch. Whereas in SDN, the control plane is placed in the flow controller, which is a software which resides in a separate PC or a laptop. So control plane resides in here, and the data plane resides in here in the switches. So once we can create a set of instruction and like for each switches, a single set of instruction could be created, like this switch should only this the IP, the traffic from only this switch must enter through the particular port and should exit from this particular port. All this and which the protocol, the port number, all these things can be configured in the flow controller and can be sent to the switch individually, and then the flow controller can be removed from the network, and the switches will follow as per the instruction which were given by the flow controller. So in SDN, the SDN follow this open flow protocol, whereas in traditional Ethernet network we can't do like this. So here, in case the primary path fails, the backup path will be there, and in case the backup path also fails, there will be a secondary path. So here, the network traffic engineering can also be done in the SDN technology as per our convenience. So on this slide, the primary path is for the goose traffic, and the failover path for the goose can be made with engineering access path. So here the first path is the the goose traffic path, whereas this path can with the engineering access path, one more path can be created for goose in case this primary fails. So, and the important point to highlight is that the second path for the goose is on the dedicated physical connection. It won't be on the same connection. It will have a dedicated connection, but that is separate from the engineering access path. So with SDN, it's possible to have multiple physical connection between same switches to provide a physical redundancy and segregation of traffic. This is not possible with the standard Ethernet switches, because the STA, the spanning tree algorithm, prevents multiple connection by blocking the port. With this level of engineering, predictable delivery and failover performance are achieved, ensuring that the application will successfully operate on the network under any condition. So there's also a inbuilt security benefit to the SDN. So here, as I mentioned before, the flow controller, the set of instruction which we define in the flow controller is given to each individual switches, and then the flow controller can be taken out from the network. And then in case the packet which have been approved, which was set in by the flow controller comes, it will allow that packet to flow. If there is any packet which has not been defined in as per the flow controller instruction, it will detect, the switches will detect it as a bad packet, and it can be and it does not allow further into the network, and that can be connected to a separate IDS system, which is intrusion detection system. So a security, apart from the usual factory acceptance test which we do for our system or solution which we provide to our end user, a communication or a communication or cybersecurity factory acceptance test should also be done. It should be made as a standard practice by all the vendors or the manufacturers, which in which the link, in case the network links goes down, what could be the impact, the outage time, how much packet are lost, and other features can be measured in that factory acceptance test. So at the end, so we should always use a defense in depth method, the multi-layered approach, including the diverse method for both physical and virtual security. Security compliance is not sufficient for the cybersecurity. The cybersecurity program is also only successful when an entire organization adopts a culture of this security. The SDN, the protocol gateway, it can be used to break a large network into a multiple smaller network, and then smaller network can be connected amongst each other, because the larger network are more prone to more prone to the attack, and gets difficult to detect in case of any cybersecurity attack happens. So smaller network is a better. So detailed risk assessment with different engineering department teams should be conducted before going forward to any cybersecurity implementation. A data flow diagram should be there along with the regular system architecture. It should be used to identify and classify all data moving around the network. And the serial data diode, which are the lower cost and simpler alternative to firewall, can be used to transmit the data in a one direction, and since the other direction is not connected, so uh, the attackers won't be able to send any command to the physical devices. Thank you. That's all I have in my presentation.
Participants, you can unmute yourself and ask your queries, or you can also post it in the chat box. Sir, can you please share this PPT to us so that we can share it to the participants?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. So I'll mail it to sir, or should I?
Anything is okay, sir. Anything is okay.
Okay. Since I have his mail ID, so I'll forward it to him.
Yeah, sure, sir, sure. Any questions from the participant side?
I think if they can consolidate, they can even send it later on to us by email, and we can get it responded by the speaker in case they are unable to send it now.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Yeah. Can you just introduce yourself,
Yes,
sir?
ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, myself, Raja Vikram, working as an assistant professor, the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, SR University, Cotton, Kolkata, ma'am. So I have one question, ma'am. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello.
sir, proceed.
Sir. Sir, actually, what is the difference between that OT security and IT security, sir? How can we differentiate the operation technology and information technology security?
So IT is like IT is the information technology, and OT is like what we use in plants or industrial control process. So there, the secure here in the security we mean like let's say the network healing time should be more in the OT side. Like using the SDN, the healing is less than 100 microsecond in case one path fails. So within 100 microsecond it recovers. Whereas in the IT, the RSTP topology is used, which takes depending upon the number of devices and or hub, it takes more time to recover.
Okay,
So
sir. Both are coming under cyber system, sir, or
both
IT is the cyber.
Yeah, like IT is a separate IT, we can say, like our mm, internet networks and the banking sector, or like sectors like that, the IT companies, and they use IT cybersecurity part. OT is being used like in this process industries, the power plant, the substation. That's the OT, operational technology network. So the cybersecurities are almost similar, but since OT is more critical, there are physical devices. If the physical devices are not, like if it get compromised, if someone tries attacks the physical devices, since it's very costly, the devices, the breakers and the relays are costly, it gets compromised. So they in terms of cost, it will be more like to recover to repair, and then the data will also be not available, and then if any trip or any message has to be sent, that will not happen. So the OT cybersecurity is more important, we can say, in one way compared to the IT part.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Actually, I am facing some network issues, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. Voice is breaking.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I think both of them, both IT and OT, are coming under cyber system side. So somewhat OT is more critical than IT. Okay, sir.
OT is critical. Yeah, OT is critical. OT cybersecurity
Okay.
in OT is critical.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions from participants? Right?
If you have any questions other than this, you can just mail us or you can post it so that we'll just forward it to sir to get back the answers.
On behalf of KCG College of Technology, I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Mr. Renju J. Abraham, Application Engineer Automation SEL, for his informative talk on cybersecurity solution to address substation OT security challenges. I'm sure that our participants would get the maximum benefit out of this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham. Thank you very much. Thanks, Swait sir, for deputing you, and you opened up the session with the details required to know about the cyber security in power stations, and all that was very much highly detailed. It is very useful. It's quite nice. Thanks a lot. Again, thank you. Thanks your management for deputing you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Dear participants, I request you all to fill the feedback form posted in the chat box, and it accepts the response half an hour only. The next session will start exactly at 12 p.m. today. Request you all to join 10 minutes before. Thank you all.
So, Mr. Abraham, I think we can meet little later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be joining by 12 o'clock also.
Okay. Good. Very nice. Thank you.